Alright, it says we're on. Let's see what this one will rebuffer the YouTube. Make sure we're looking good.
Okay.
Somebody from all the way from Toronto is on right now. Very cool.
Oh, who is it?
Let's see here. Buffer, buffer, buffer. Gotta love the buffer.
I know. It's just as bad as the spinning wheel of death.
Seriously. It's CJ Wallace. Toronto.
Oh, it's CJ!
And let's see here, it's buffering on YouTube. Making sure, guys, before we start that this looks fine. And yep, you're there. We're good. We're on. Let's see what this one will rebuffer the YouTube. Ooh, that's creepy. It's like a minute delay. Wow.
Really?
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Beers and Fears with Paula Lindberg of American Mary and so much more. Paula, thanks for showing up. How's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Everybody, you can post your questions to YouTube as well as on the event page, which is already coming through with questions. We'll take those probably the next half hour. So go ahead and ask away anything that you want to ask to Paula. Obviously, keep it within reason, people. But yeah, let's have a good time. Got my brew going, so we're going to start off right off the bat here. Paula, one of the first questions that I was going to ask anyways, what was it like? Obviously, working on American Mary was a grueling task. What I've heard, it was pretty intense with having two directors. So what was that like, the process of filming a movie with not just one but two directors directing you through that whole thing?
I feel like they really took different roles, and so there wasn't, I mean, I didn't see a lot of conflict. Like, one of them would kind of sit back and work with the actor, and then one of them would be more involved with technical stuff or behind-the-scenes-y type stuff. So, I mean, and they're so positive, and they're so excited, and they're just so awesome to work with that it wasn't so much of an issue. Good.
Yeah, pretty smooth transition then. I'm sure it was pretty cool to have two people pushing along with a common goal, it seems like, to make a film. And you guys filmed that thing in what, how many days?
10 days? It was very fast. It was very fast. But they're like, I mean, Jen and Sylvia, they're just leaders on set. Like, they're so gung-ho and positive, and there's a lot of squealing, and there's a lot of, I don't know. If there's anger, they keep it hidden somewhere.
Right.
if there's anger and frustration, we didn't see it. So. That's awesome.
Yeah. One of the older films that you were in that I actually recognized. I recognized you right away when I popped in American Mary for the first time. Even with the prosthetics, I had to pause it to go find out if I was right or not. Me being a family man with lots of children, Snowbuddies.
Oh, yeah.
Snowbuddies. 2008 was one of the films that I definitely recognized you in. How did you make a jump from something as Snowbuddies to a horror film, basically? What was the casting like for that?
You know what? Snowbuddies, I think, was my first kind of film role that I ever booked. And it's funny because I've just recently gotten really recognized this year. I think they re-released it or something. But I mean, as an actor, you just take what comes at you and you go to whatever. I think being up in Canada too, you get to go out for like a broader range of stuff. I think when you're in the US, when you're in LA, you get kind of slotted into a certain type or a certain genre, and in Vancouver you can have that luxury of going out for a huge range, which is fun. Yeah. That's awesome.
That's probably one of my greatest little fun family films. It's just a good, wholesome, fun film.
Cute.
Yeah, it's super cute, and I love dogs, so you can't go wrong with that.
And they talk. They talk. I mean, you can't beat that.
Right. So what are you doing right now? We got a lot. And by the way, guys, keep asking. I had somebody send me a personal message. Yes, if you have questions, post it in the YouTube or on the event page itself. That'd be the easiest. Sometimes I get text messages as well. It's just a lot easier if it's in those two. So keep those questions coming. We have some really good ones.
Cool.
So this is going to be a good time. I can already tell. What are you doing currently right now? I know you're on the road. You said earlier. What's going on with you at this very moment?
I'm on the road. I'm up in Vancouver, so I just have to go where the work is, and it's hopping up here. So I thought I'd come up and check it out. I did work on a couple of months ago a movie called Air with Norman Reedus from Walking Dead, and then Robert Kirkman, the producer of Walking Dead, is also worked on it, and Jimon Hansu is in it as well. It's kind of an end of the world scenario.
Very cool.
And yeah, just seeing what's next for me. A lot of auditions.
That's awesome. Trying to keep busy, obviously.
Totally. And CJ, you said there's someone from Toronto, CJ Wallace. He has a film coming up. I don't know if I'm supposed to mention it yet, but at the end of the year, that hopefully we'll be working on too. So.
Oh, very good. So I'm just going to ask him, hey, CJ, I'm sending you a message right now. Can we mention this?
I'm like, I should have asked him that before. I didn't think about it.
That's funny. So going off of that, I know a lot of people have been jumping into the convention realm again. Seems like that's a booming thing here. Are you going to be, somebody want to know if you're going to be on a convention anytime soon with American Mary or the Twisted Twins?
I would love to. I mean, I think the fans have to generate that want so that the organizers bring me in.
Definitely.
So if you guys can call them and say, hey, bring Paula, we need our DVD signed, blah, 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 I'm happy to go around and visit.
There we go. So everybody, bang on the doors, write your letters.
Yeah.
Let's get you there. That'd be fantastic.
That'd be awesome.
Especially seeing that the crew already from American Mary has been doing quite a bit of conventions, Tristan Risk as well as those guys. It'd be pretty awesome to have a panel with all you guys at one point.
Totally. I did get to do Comic-Con, but that was before, Comic-Con was before it actually came out. So that was like a pre-release situation.
Oh, excellent. And CJ Wallace, yes, thank you very much. He gave us permission. Umerica?
Yes.
Is the name of the show? Fantastic.
Yeah.
What can you give us a little bit of background on that? What's going on with that? What it's about?
It's supposed to be sort of a modern day Dr. Strangelove.
Oh, very cool.
Like a reimagining. So CJ was involved with American Mary right at the beginning, and he's done another horror movie recently called BB Movie.
Okay.
And so this will be his next film on his own. So.
Very cool, very cool. So and we can look forward to possibly seeing you in that by next year sometime, I suppose?
Yeah, that's the goal. That's
a good goal.
You know, the indie circuit, you never know what's going to happen.
Yeah, very true. Very true. Keep your questions coming, guys. Keep getting messages as well. We're going to go ahead and take one right now because this is a pretty fun question. Let me pull it up here for you. Give me 1 second here. Let's see. Where'd it go? All right, from Joe Flynn. You want to know how was it like working with the makeup and the efforts for your personal character?
It was awesome. I mean, I think if I was doing a 30-day shoot, I would probably be annoyed with all of it. But because it wasn't so long, it was just so cool. You get this immediate character put on your face, and you are able to adapt mannerisms, and things happen that you couldn't necessarily plan. It was felt like I was Botoxed, basically, because I had the full face mask on. So I imagine that's what it would feel like to have your face fully Botoxed, and it changed how I spoke. It changed my mannerisms. So it was really cool. I mean, it took a long time, but.
Yeah, I was going to say, how long was the prosthetic process for that?
It took about 4 hours to get it on, and then 45 minutes to get it off.
Wow.
But we actually shot a teaser, and that took 16 hours when we shot the teaser. So 4 hours, I was like, perfect. This is nothing. I can handle this.
Right, yeah. Wow, that's a walk in the park.
That's a walk in the park compared to 16. So.
Wow, that is intense. And how many days on set were you? Were you there for the whole entire process, or?
No, I wasn't. I was only there for. I think with us, like me and Beatrice, with all the makeup, they want to kind of do as much as they can with you in a day because of all the rigmarole. So it was only like 3 days, really.
Oh, wow.
And then a teaser on the other day. Yeah.
That's intense.
So, yeah.
Especially because, I mean, you have a very interesting role, and that's what I think a lot of people gravitated to that film, dealing with a subject matter of modification. to that degree is not heard of. Modification's been around for so long, but be able to be in a role where your character in particular was such an extreme.
Yeah.
Was there any, like, how did you prepare for that? Did you guys have any mods that you were able to talk to? What was the process for that?
I mean, we did have Russ, who does a lot of that stuff on set, and he was involved with Jen and Sylvia quite a bit. I know I did a lot of Googling, and I know my computer got shut down a couple times with the Googling I was doing. But also, it's kind of been in the media a lot, too. Like, there's so many people who are getting 182 surgeries in a day, or the Ukrainian girl who wants to be Barbie, and there were interviews with them, and Catwoman, and all these people. So I was kind of able to do a lot of research just at home and on my own.
That's pretty awesome. And you're right, it's becoming definitely more of a mainstream and accepted, too, which is nice for a change.
Totally, totally. Well, I always said, why is it okay to get fake boobs? That's weird as it is. Like, why is that okay?
Right.
And putting lumps in your forehead so extreme. Just the barometer is really weird in public culture.
Very true. It's counterproductive in a lot of ways. And what I found recently, it seems that that's becoming a little bit more acceptable, but the tattoo in the workplace is not. It's becoming like a reversal when it comes to things, and it just doesn't make sense. Like you said, being able to get any type of augmentation done is no problem. But
right, you can get butt implants, but you can't have a tattoo at work. That's normal. That's
right.
Fine.
That's
that makes sense.
Right. We're gonna ask another question here. Let me take a drink real quick.
All right. Okay.
All right. Here. All right, we got one from, where'd it go here? Sorry, guys. They're just posting. Where'd you go? There was one from Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Great time. Maybe he was on here. I apologize. Oh, there it is.
That's fine.
What was the best part of working with Katherine Isabelle?
I like Katherine. She's fun. She's just no nonsense. She's not. She's just very real, and she's just very raw, and she was excited to get this film made. She had read it early on, and I usually, and she said this in interviews, the stuff that you want to get made and the stuff you want to work on is the stuff that gets shelved and pushed aside, and she was just stoked to be there, and she's a really cool chick. So, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, she seems like a no-nonsense type person, like you said.
Totally blunt. Some people, don't love that. I like that. I like someone who's just honest and real, and yeah, she's great.
Interesting question, and one that really sparked my interest. How would you feel, especially lately, there's been a lot of TV series spin-offs of films.
Yes.
How would you feel, and would you be interested, and how would you like to see it happen if they did a spin-off of American Mary into a TV series?
Well, I know that there has actually been some chit-chat about that. So, and there's been some interest in that, and there were some pretty serious people talking about that. So, awesome. There's always issues with, like, rights and things like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to pan out. So many things get shelved, but I think it would be awesome. I think a year of makeup, or not a year, but, a 6 month shoot in makeup might.
Very true. Very true.
But I think it would be cool if they could go backwards, too, and explore some of the story. And I would love to know how, like, Beatrice and Ruby met and what that whole thing was about, and how they got into this life and that sort of a thing.
Oh, that'd be so much fun to see back character stories and even spin-offs of those characters into their own little series.
Totally.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
Totally.
Good to hear. That was a great question, and I'm glad that was actually something that's in talks. So, good stuff. What's coming up for you? I saw, did my basic IMDb search, of course. Saw that you had a couple upcoming filming. There's one called Air. Does that sound right?
Oh yeah, that's the one I said with the Walking Dead.
Okay.
People, the Norman Reedus and the Jamal Hansu. I think that's out next year.
Fantastic.
It's an end of days situation.
And then you just are you going to get back into any of the TV series? I know you've been on several different TV shows. So is that something that interests you still, or?
Oh yeah, I would love to. I love working.
Yeah, that's basically it, right?
No, yeah, I mean, I'm up here because it's really busy for episodics. So doing a lot of auditions, callbacks on Monday. So we'll see what's going on with that.
Good.
Yeah.
Also, real quick, another American Mary question coming through. First, for me, before I even ask this, I mean, what was it like having to get into a character like this? I know we asked about the research process, but I mean, there's been, unfortunate happenings with people getting into characters and they don't able to bounce back from that. It can get very intense for actors and actresses, character-wise. I mean, was there a time period afterwards? I know I even asked kind of the similar question with Tristan, where she had to kind of separate herself afterwards to just have time for herself to get back into regular normality, I guess you could say. Was there anything like that for you? I mean, such an intense character. How did you deal with that?
Yeah, I think you have to. I mean, I think as an actor over time you develop skills of how to kind of decompress and step back and remove yourself. And it also depends on how you work. Like, I like to think the character comes and visits and plays me and then leaves, hopefully, So, I don't know. I mean, you do take some time, but then, yeah, you interacted with them for a long time and you thought about them for a long time. And they give you a little gift. Like, you understand a whole other different section of society better. You understand a different side of yourself a little more. And it was interesting with her because I had to really, I'm a pretty low-maintenance kind of girl, so I had to really approach that in a non-judgmental way and what would drive someone and understand it. So
that's cool. Very cool. So how do you feel about if they ever decided to do another question that I got in an email was if they decided to do a sequel? I know a lot of people they want to see you back regardless of the outcome in the first film.
Cool. Well, you never see me die.
That exactly. You just
you don't see Beatrice die.
Very true. Last phone call.
Technically, you don't know.
You only have the whole Catherine, which was a crazy scene.
Yeah.
But I mean, would that be something? How would you see that play out? I mean, what would be some different scenarios you think that you would like to see if they decided to go a sequel?
I think it either needs to be a prequel, or sequel. I don't know. It would be so sad without Mary alive. They would have to resurrect her, I think, from death and bring her back. She would need to be a part of that. But I think a prequel would be fun, and seeing how everybody evolved into these characters. Or if you do something after, there needs to be a lot of flashbacks.
Definitely.
Into the developing stages. Like, what's the first time Ruby goes under the knife, and where does that come from, and where does that stem from, and that sort of stuff. I think that would be cool.
It'd be great to see a more in depth of the background of the strip club owner. Kind of curious to see what's going on with him and how he got to that. Because he was such a great character in that movie, and I thought it was hilarious. I love the banter in that film. One of the such great writing, and your dialogue was just. I just thought it was fantastic because it was such you got into your character with just a simple of well, why can't I be this way, And it was so good. But I thought it was funny when you mentioned we're going to drive down and we'll stop in Sacramento. They'll go to Modesto. I was like, really? Why would you stop here? There's nothing here. So I don't know. Soska's do a little more research. There's nothing here in Sacramento.
So maybe they all go on a road trip together.
Yeah, we can throw a little what is it, like a Devil's Rejects road trip.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right, guys, go ahead and keep your questions going. Thank you so much. We're having a great time with Paula Lindberg here. Paula, what is your drink of choice for American Mary?
Tequila on the rocks.
Oh, wow. Definitely. Now I feel like a wuss drinking this, but that's fine.
I mean, I'm drinking a Strongbow, so I'm being a wuss right now too.
Okay.
But you know,
that's all right. We got to both drive here afterwards, so.
Exactly.
Very good. Tequila on the rocks. All right, here, guys. Here's another one coming in. Pop. Let me grab that real quick. What is, by C.J. Wallace as well, actually, what is your favorite bad/guilty pleasure movie?
Oh my gosh.
That's a tough one, CJ.
CJ, why are you trying to embarrass me? You know what? I love period dramas, and if you can combine like a period drama with a love story, I am a sucker. So I'm gonna have to say my embarrassing pleasure would be like Shakespeare in Love or Elizabeth or.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a problem.
Shakespeare in Love was a good film. I'll give you that. I'm okay with that.
Okay, is that allowed? All right.
That's allowed. Yeah, that's okay.
That's a guilty pleasure.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, no, I get it. Sometimes you just need a little bit different from horror people. So
sometimes you need to cry it out. You know.
Exactly.
You need to, think about costumes and cry it out.
Good stuff. CJ really enjoyed that, by the way. So you're welcome, CJ. Cosplay. That's something something that's becoming really, really more popular these days. With the idea of being on set in cosplay, I don't know why this even tied in, but it's interesting when you go to a convention and you see cosplay and you're like, whoa, what did I just watch? Did you guys ever, while in costume possibly, go out and kind of just, go get a coffee? Or, go get some McDonald's or something as dressed up in your character from American Mary? And if so, you got any fun stories?
Well, not so much go out and get a coffee, but the makeup trailers were on the street, and I would have to walk, from the street into the set, which was actually in a veterinary center.
Okay.
And the looks I got from people were amazing because the makeup was so good.
Right.
You couldn't tell that it was. I just looked like one of these Real Housewives who had a huge amount of surgery. And of course, it's like the middle of the day, and people are like coming and going from work, and I've got my pink dress on. And I mean, it was pretty amazing.
That's fantastic. Yeah, I would have to just mess with people. I mean, that's just a given at that point.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. I mean, the effects on that movie, very, very practical, but very real. When I first watched it, it blew my mind because I honestly thought that you guys were real modificators. So I had no idea.
The crew didn't know. Like the crew asked Jen and Sylvia, like, where did you find her?
Wow.
Where did you get her from? Like, did you fly her up from LA?
Oh, wow.
Because they didn't know, like, some of the grips and stuff. They had no idea. It was amazing.
That's amazing. Who was the effects artist that worked on you?
That was Todd Masters.
Todd Masters.
So of Masters Effects. I mean, he does such amazing work. I mean, and he works on some really great shows too. And we were really, really lucky that he had read the script and was excited about it and was willing to work on it.
Yes.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was done flawlessly. Like you said, I really honestly thought that you guys were for real modificators walking around. So, good job for that. Oh, we got another one that just popped up. Let me grab this real quick. From Kim Lehman, maybe Lawman. Sorry, don't know. How does it feel to have inspired so many people with your character as Ruby Realgirl?
I guess I didn't really know that I had.
Surprise!
I mean, it's awesome. It's awesome that this movie speaks to people, and it's awesome that it keeps generating this attention and this buzz, and that it moved people. And I think it did. Like, it moved people to embrace whatever they have about them that they think is weird or different. Its characters were just like, hey, this is who I am. It's not of the norm. I'm going to be what I'm going to be. And, yeah, I mean, I can see that that is inspiring. So it's cool.
Definitely. It's cool. I mean, I haven't had that with, obviously, and we'll get too personal, but having kids, you want to be able to build them up and, encourage them. And a lot of people look towards film. I know I did as a child, look towards certain films and characters that I could relate to and go, man, that really spoke to me. And I think this movie in particular, and I think that's what the Soskas did so well, was to be able to create characters that, regardless of whatever the heck's going on, it was almost extremely relatable, and you fell in love with them. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and that was something we talked about. We didn't want them to be stereotypes, and we didn't want them to be, I mean, you wanted them to be approachable, and you wanted to feel compassion for them, and you wanted to relate to them, and that's tricky to do with a totally new face on.
Yeah, totally knew everything in that movie.
Totally knew everything. Yes. Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Get another one here. Thank you so much again for doing this. We're having a great time. One of the better ones that we've had, so thank you again.
Aw. You say that to all the girls.
Yeah, no. Stop saying that to all the girls in high school. It didn't work for them. Let's see. Got another one from a lady named Mary as well. Mm-hmm. She wanted to know, going forward, obviously you've been doing a lot of editions, everything that she's heard you say. Who is somebody that you haven't worked with that you would love to, whether it's actor or director?
Oh my gosh, so many. Can I work with Martin Scorsese? I read an article recently. Jonah Hill took $60,000 to work on Wolf of Wall Street.
Wow, really?
Yeah, he only got paid $60,000, whereas Leo got $10 million, because he was just like, I would pay to go and work with him. I would love for Kubrick to be alive again, and then I would work with him. Oh gosh, the list is so huge. There's so many. Even, you know what? Like when I worked on Air recently, that was like an up-and-coming director where I was like, this guy is going to be amazing. He was just so, Christian Cantamessa, was so passionate and exciting. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, I'm sure the list could go on and on.
And on.
I will, if I ever did any films, I mean, Jonah Hill, like you said, I think that would be a lot of fun. He seems like a fun guy.
Seems like a nice guy, too.
Yeah, it seems pretty humble, so that'd be really cool. Good question. Thank you, guys. That's a hard one to answer. So let's see here. What else we got? Coming up for you, like you said, you are currently over in Canada, correct?
Yes. Not living, just squatting.
Okay. Not living, just right there for right now. Yes, we discussed that earlier. We would not want you to live there. Sounds horrible, man. Yeah, you're great. But
you're great. No.
Your other stuff in control here. That's too funny. When you come back, is it tough being able to have to fly around? You're married as well, correct?
Yes.
Without going too personal. Does your family? I know there are a lot of people that I talk to who are married, even with kids, even fly with to be a part. Do you guys fly together, or how does that work for you?
Well, he works full time in LA, so he can't fly with me. I'm lucky that he is incredibly supportive, and he just knows that I need to do what I have to do for my career. And so if I'm like, hey, so I'm going up to Vancouver for a few months, maybe I'll stay longer. I don't know. He's like, okay, we'll make it work. I put my little service vest on my dog, and I walk him on the plane with me, and
that's fantastic.
And he's my little traveling companion. But it's tiring. Like, it's tiring living out of suitcases and finding somewhere to stay, and it's a slog.
As put very well in Fight Club, all your single-serving friends that you meet on planes. Yeah. Somebody just posted, or is it at? It's on the phone here. Popped up. Is your dog there? They want to see your dog.
He's not. He's at my because my parents are on Vancouver Island, so I was just on the island, and I just took the ferry to Vancouver, but he stayed in the country.
Very
chillaxing.
nice.
Yeah, yeah.
What kind of dog do you have?
I have a French bulldog named Alfie.
Oh, so awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
What is something that you would look forward to in the upcoming years when it comes to films? Is there a certain film that you heard about, major, that's coming out that you really want to see, or one that you possibly have seen if you've had downtime that you thought was worth your while?
Oh man, you guys, I'm really bad with names and things. That I want to watch?
Sure, let's go with that.
I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I'm terrible. I'm totally blanking. I'm a blanker on names, and I need to like make lists before I sit down or something.
Gotcha. Well, let's see here. There was the Transformers. There was Purge Anarchy that just came out.
I haven't seen the first Purge, which I want to see.
You should definitely see it. A lot of people have mixed feelings, but I think it was a damn good movie overall. The one that I was looking forward to, and somebody had mentioned as well, if you were more into comedies, and I know you said the kind of the Renaissance thing earlier, Sex Tape. Have you heard about that?
I have heard about that. I would watch that. I would watch that. You know what? Speaking of Jonah Hill, I loved This Is the End.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Yeah. I can't even. I could talk all day about that movie. What a great film that was.
I don't watch movies twice a lot. I watched it twice. I watched it twice.
Oh, that's one where it's like, man, if they ever did it again, I would try to figure out a way to get the hell on that movie. That was such a fun film. I
like fresh comedy when comedy doesn't feel stale and old, and it surprises you.
And to be able to play yourself, but over the top version was amazing. Well written, and just a fun thing.
And then the general public feels like a little peek into their lives, even though it was this exaggerated version of their lives.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, that was a good choice, and that's a great film.
That was funny.
Here, let me post real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you can tell that I didn't eat lunch before drinking these beers because I can't type right now.
Uh-oh.
So, make sure I get some food. There we go.
I'm pouring my strong milk.
All right, indie films. Let's go into that a little bit.
Okay.
Is there anything in particular that you would want to see coming out? I know, and what I mean by that is certain style, maybe even a certain subject matter that hasn't been touched on, or thinks that it needs to be touched on. I know there's been a lot of just interesting. I've seen. I watch a lot of indie films with this show, and there's been a lot of controversial type questions and type things when it comes to like even the church picketing type films to that, things like that. Is there anything in the media that you think would translate well into an indie film, or just a film in general, I guess, that hasn't been touched on recently?
Oh wow. Oh, these are serious questions. I mean, there's so much going on. There's so many horrible things going on right now in media that could be touched on. I don't know. You know what? As a recent immigrant to the U.S., there's been a lot of realizations for me of the difference between American and Canadian cultures. I think in Canada, people are like, we're the same. And it's, oh, in North America, we're the same. And then when you get down there, you just realize how complex the United States is, and the political systems and the economy and the groups of people and the religious undercurrents that exist that we don't really have, I think, as intensely in Canada. And I think that could be a cool film, like someone discovering those, because I've tried to articulate it at parties, at this. And it's just different social things, different ways to do business, and people are like, oh, they don't believe me. But yeah, that makes sense.
That's a good one.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's no, it was very good. And it's a touchy subject matter. And yeah, there's so much that's going on. It's a very broad question, so I appreciate you tackling that head on.
and more female directors getting funding too, for sure.
I agree. I think we need to get rid of, and I'm going to go on a limb, and I support this site and everybody else, but I think we need to get rid of it and just call it the whole Woman in Horror Month.
Right.
I think it just needs to get rid of the month and just make it Women in Horror.
Just
because
Women in Horror, yeah.
Yeah. Let's not contain that to a box even. That just seems, I don't know, a little ridiculous. There's a lot of good filmmakers out there, a lot of lady filmmakers that are kicking some major butt in the industry. And it's not just the Soskas. I mean, there's tons, and I definitely think...
Tons. And I think they have to hustle twice as hard. Well, maybe,
definitely.
Maybe 1.5 times as hard to really get noticed and get their name out and be trusted, you know,
I totally agree.
For the money, yeah.
Yeah, and they just need to, be in the highlight more because I don't know, man. Even like women in the workplace, I think it needs 90% of the time when I work with women in general, they're a lot better than the guys that I work with because they have a way better understanding of what the hell they want to get done.
Right.
And I will follow directions from a lady any time of the day.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, good stuff. Background question, have you, and if you haven't, are you ever interested in working or acting in Broadway?
Oh, I would love to. Not in the singing and dancing variety,
Right.
but a stage play. It seems so far off and like such a difficult goal. Like I feel like I would have to have my own show and already have a name for myself to be able to make that transition. Just because I've never lived in New York, I don't go there. It's, but I think it would be. I mean, I studied in London for a summer. I studied Shakespeare, and I mean, I love the stage, and I think it's tricky in Canada. You really have to make a choice. You can't necessarily do both a lot of the time and make a living. So. I mean, it would be amazing. It would be so inspiring to do something like that, definitely.
And you were saying that you had studied in London for a little bit. What is your background when it comes to this type of field? How did you get involved with acting in the first place?
I went straight to theater school right out of high school, and then I did things like I went to RADA and I studied Shakespeare, and I did the Canadian National Voice Intensive and studied voice and a lot of coaching, a lot of film classes, and I do voiceover too, so voiceover classes, voiceover lessons.
Very cool. Is there anything that we would recognize or heard with the voiceover part?
There's Iron Man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of anime, so like Gundam and shows like that. So
that's very neat. How is attacking that when it comes to an acting point of view? How does that differ from, say, getting a character for a film, or is it pretty much the same deal?
I think it's different. I mean, I could never be a 80-year-old woman on film. Well, I probably could with a lot of prosthetics, but you know what I mean. You have just more of a huge range. I'm not going to be a 7-year-old child on film.
Right.
And it's more theatrical. Like I feel like you use your body a lot more, especially when you're, recording. Like if you're doing, I just did a video game, and it's like, okay, and you're taking a fire arrow to the eyeball. And if you're in the booth and you're just like, it's not going to read. You really have to be like, you're going to do the motions and really get it out. Or if your character's different, you really want it to be like in your body, and you want it to,
That's very cool. And you said you did a video game, you said.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yes, it's called Strife. Recently. I've done another one, and I did it was Empire Earth one as well.
Okay, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, it's very fun.
That's pretty neat. I can imagine having to be, you probably have to be very animated in the booth to be able to get that across.
You're sweaty after. You're a little sweaty.
Oh, yeah.
And these are do we need like 5 death sounds, and we need, now you're being thrown up against a wall, and now you're being. When we recorded Iron Man, it's funny because everybody's in the booth at the same time, so you can interact off of each other.
Nice.
And it's like, okay, and now you're getting like thrown against the wall, and now you're falling down the wall, and now you're punching, and now you're flying through a thing.
To be a fly in that whole process, to see that would be fantastic.
Yeah. It's good. Cool. It's cool to watch the like people who really like do it for a living all the time. How naturally they just can be like, oh, cool, right. And just.
Oh, good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to be wrapping it up here in the next 10 minutes. Paula Lindberg from American Mary and so much more. Thank you so much, Paula, for being on again.
Thanks for having me.
This has been a great time. I really appreciate it, asking some very tough questions. Usually it's very basic questions we get. So this is, you got a really sophisticated fan base.
Intimidated.
Right. Recently, there has been, and this is something that we spoke to, and I usually bring up with every person I have on, the whole entire reboot genre. And a lot of people get angry with it, and a lot of people love it. What's your take on that? I mean, is that something that you think needs to stop, or where do you want it to go if it does continue? So,
I mean, I think it's a little overdone. I think if you can make it new and exciting and bring something fresh, then go for it. If you can make a standalone reboot, do it. But if it's just rehashing to cash in on the old name,
right,
it's boring.
Right. So going off of that, how do you feel about, and I always ask, so if there's something that, anybody else who's going to be on the show, by the way, get used to it, I'm going to ask this question. How do you feel about Rob Zombie's remakes then?
I haven't watched them.
You haven't?
No. You should have warned me. I could have watched them before.
Yeah. No, that's probably a safe answer to have, actually. People, man, they get hated on either way, but
if they like them, they get hated on.
Yeah, because it seems like a lot of people are really upset with his remake of the Halloween franchise and what it looks like, and I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. If you're going to make a reboot or any movie in general, whether it's even a sequel that was from a film back in the 60s or 70s, do it for the right reasons, not for the quick buck.
Totally.
And that's just something I think in filmmaking in general people need to embrace a little bit more anyhow. So.
Totally. I agree.
Steve, got another one coming in. Steve just said, by the way, thank you so much for doing this. He's having a fantastic time. So,
excellent.
One more with Kim. Do you believe? Oh, wow, Kim, you are knocking these questions out of the park today. Do you believe in censorship in films?
No.
It's pretty broad. There's a lot of directions you could go with that. So.
I don't think you should censor an artist, but I think you should warn the public what's going to be on there. But then, I mean, it depends. Like, if you're going into stuff like child porn stuff in films, then no, I don't think that should be in there. No, you shouldn't show it. But I think if you warn the public what's in the film, then you shouldn't censor the film.
Gotcha.
Because the artist needs to express themselves. We don't have to like the artist, we don't have to agree with the artist, we don't have to watch the artist, but they should be able to express themselves.
Great answer. Yeah, no, totally great answer. That's a tough question because censorship goes so many ways, in so many forms, and yeah, so good answer. Good question, Kim. Thank you so much, everybody, for your questions. Last one, and it has to go off of censorship as well. Have you seen, and how do you feel about the whole entire Human Centipede franchise?
I've seen the first one.
Okay.
I thought I would really. Okay, I haven't said this yet, but I have a really weak stomach with horror movies. Like, I actually get very, very afraid, and I don't sleep after, and I have to watch them in the daytime. So even like I've been watching Hannibal lately at night, and then I'm an insomniac. Then I'm up and I get freaked out. But anyway, so I did watch it, and I liked it. Like I thought it was a really great thriller. I didn't understand why it got. Well, I guess I did because they sell there. But by the time I saw it, I'd heard all about that, and I knew what was coming, and I totally enjoyed it.
I agree.
It was way less scary than I thought it would be. It was a good thriller, and the doctor was a great character.
Oh man, that guy is a phenomenal actor. Man, he was scary.
Amazing.
He was scarier more than the actual things that he was doing, in my opinion, in that film.
Totally.
But yeah, it was more of a shock value rather than an actual scary, grotesque thing. Until you jump into the second one. The second one's out of control.
Is it?
Yeah, watch it during the day. They did the whole film in black and white, which even added more to that whole.
Oh yeah. And
it's grotesque, man. It's grotesque. Yeah, just was curious because we're also having Lawrence Harvey on real soon.
Cool.
Who's in the second one, but the third one will be releasing very soon here.
He came to our Mary premiere.
I heard he's a pretty funny guy.
Yeah.
I heard he's a complete opposite of what he plays in his films. So
that's good. I like that.
Which is good because he just kind of terrifies me a little bit.
Right? Yeah. He probably wouldn't work if he was actually terrifying to people.
You're right.
In person.
Yeah.
You know.
You
wouldn't want him in your house or like at a meeting. You would just be like, no, it's okay.
Like, hey kids, why don't you go in your room? Yeah.
Go hide. Yeah. Lock the doors. Laura's coming over.
That's great. So how do you feel about the? You said Hannibal. How do you feel about that series right now?
It's so good. It's so good. I really love it. I love the imagery. I love the antlers and the elk going around, and I mean it's the psychological tension and the stillness. I mean it's great. And then I get really creeped out, and then I don't sleep well.
That's right. No, you need to just record it and watch it during the day.
I'm a glutton. I'm a glutton for punishment.
Last question to wrap things up, and then we'll one more time. I'm going to ask you exactly, where people can go to follow you on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff, so we can get that out there. But last question: if you were ever to dive into directing, who would you cast for your first film as your lead?
Amazing. Okay. I would definitely cast Cate Blanchett. I'm a huge fan of hers. Oh my gosh. And then a really hot male actor.
Gotta have one.
Fassbender, or
right.
I don't know. Just someone. Or no, Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, good choice.
There we go. Here we go.
Yes, and going off of Sons of Anarchy, this is a side note, personal thing. Marilyn Manson, please stop trying to act. Just don't go on Sons of Anarchy. You're going to ruin the show.
Has he acted before?
He's done a couple things. He was actually in Jawbreaker back in the day. When he was married to Rose McGowan, so that made sense that she was in it, and he was absolutely terrible in that. So,
and it's such a quality show, Sons of Anarchy. I'm surprised.
It really is, and he's playing a Nazi, so we'll see how that goes. Curious, but I guess maybe the makeup's not working anymore, so that's fine. Thank you so much. Paula, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody where they can keep up to date on your upcoming stuff, how to, all the social stuff, all that good stuff, and then we'll link it once this is posted as well. So why don't you go ahead and tell everybody.
Sure. On Twitter, I am just Paula Lindberg. Pretty easy to find. I don't have a public Facebook page yet, but I'm so going to work on that really soon. I mean, that's it. Good deal. Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome. Everybody, thank you so much. Had a great time. Paula, thanks again. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's fun. Love having you on. Please be safe out there. Safe travels to you. Keep us posted on what's coming out. If you land anything, I know you said you have a lot going on, so just keep us posted. We'd love to help promote that as well. Totally will. Get the fans knowing what the heck's going on. And thanks again. Appreciate it. Good job in American Mary. And thanks for entertaining my kids with doggies as well. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks, guys. This is Brian from Beers and Fears. We are signing off. Thanks again. Thanks. Bye.